I'm Brad Teare, and this is my studio, and behind me is my easel where I do all my painting. And today we're going to be looking at how I painted one of my most recent paintings from my trip down to Santa Fe and Taos. I recently moved in and I really love the light in this new studio. It's fantastic. Here's the final painting that I'll be demonstrating today, and it's from an area between Santa Fe and Taos. Now, the way I do an underpainting is very akin to the way I do my woodcuts. I paint on the canvas with acrylic markers, and it very much looks like a black and white woodcut. So this would be very similar to how a woodcut would look, the first block of a color woodcut. So I don't like to paint over the black and the white, so I do tone the canvas with some red paint. Now here's all the colors I use. I don't use these in every painting, of course, but I love paint, so I love to have a lot of colors at my disposal. Now I usually start with the color in the back and work my way towards the front. So that means, of course, I'd first put in the sky. I love to use the palette knife. I haven't always used the palette knife, but when I switched over to it, my work just really had an energy that I hadn't had previously with brushes. So this is one of my better knives. I switch up my knives quite a bit. I have now moved down to a smaller one, but you can see the assortment of knives in the background. I have a magnetic holding device so that I can have them easily at hand. And I like to, first put in the color in really bold strokes. Now my underpainting helps me to be very precise with the color. I can put it exactly where I want it. So when I'm working in color, I just think in color. I don't have to worry about the drawing. I'm going to speed things up here a bit. If you watch this in real time, it would take entirely too long to watch this video. So I skipped, quite a few phases here, but here I am. I've sped up the film just a little bit. I'm putting in the color into the water area, and water's a little tricky sometimes. You've got to, really practice, doing it. So you can see the strokes I'm putting in. Mostly, they have several colors in them. I rarely put down a stroke of a single color. I like the color vibration that the Impressionists achieved, and so I try to emulate them whenever possible by putting down a stroke with maybe 3 or 4 different colors in it. My palette is quite a jumble of paint sometimes, and I sometimes use 2 palette knives, one in each hand, and I load my brush or my palette with my left hand. That helps to give even more broken color. So here I am putting the ground, and now you see me looking down occasionally. I'm just simply looking at the paint and mixing up the colors that I'm looking for. Now sometimes I'll put down a color and it won't be exactly what I want. So I tend to just squish more color over the top, and that can be an amazing way to get that vibration. Now I use a very textured canvas. I textured actually with molding paste, so that paint, I can push that paint into the canvas and it'll hold, and I can paint right over the top of it. So it's a very interesting way to load that canvas up with quite a bit of paint, quite a bit of texture. And I love texture, as you can tell. I love color, and it's just a fun way to apply color. The Impressionists pioneered this way of painting with vibrating color, and typically they would use complementary colors, or colors that are almost complementary, to get that vibrational effect. And I just love to use that in my painting. Here's the final result. And thanks for joining me in my studio.